Hello. Today we're going to be going over the basics that we will need for our art project. Today we'll be doing a landscape with a tree. Our basic tools that we will need is a canvas. Today we'll be using a canvas board. A canvas board is thin. You can use a canvas, but today we'll be using a canvas board that is 9 by 12 inches. We will be using paper towels to wipe our brushes on, and we're using acrylic, so we'll need water. A water tub is easily available at most art stores, and you will fill the tub half full of water with cold water and set it aside. We will be using painter's tape today. The painter's tape is going to be used on the landscape for the horizon. Painter's tape is a great tool because it will not mar your canvas or stick to it and take the canvas off in any way. The brushes we're going to be using are Robert Simmons brushes. Those brushes are a nice basic brush for a regular project. They have a good flat edge to them. We're going to be using a flat wash brush today. That flat wash brush is a little bit wider. It's about 3/4 of an inch wide with a nice flat edge. We will also be using a 10-aught liner, which will go to a fine point when wet, a very small firm fan brush, and we'll be using an angle brush that is about a 3/8 angle brush. Our paints are the Grumbacher acrylic paints. I set them out on a wet palette that has a sponge underneath it. The sponge is damp. I use palette paper, or you can use freezer paper, and if your palette is kept damp, you can put this back in your refrigerator and use it again several times. As you'll see, those paints are not runny, they're smooth and creamy, and they have a wonderful effect on your canvas. It's always a good idea to have a picture of your project that you can have easily available to look at and reference. And you don't have to do it exact, but it gives you a good point of reference. We want to go over the brushes again. The brushes are long-handled, are used when you're standing at an easel that's farther away from you. Therefore, you use the longer-handled brush. When you are painting a sit-down close project on a table easel, usually you will use the short-handled brushes. And your brushes, there's varying qualities of brushes, and like I said, the Simmons brush are a good middle of the quality. They'll have a number at your craft stores as for the quality, and a 2 is a good quality. 1 is excellent. The Low Cornell brushes are an excellent quality brush. They do hold up and last for a long time. And now we've gone over brushes. Palette paper is another tool we will use throughout our project. It's smooth and slick. You blend your paint on it. You can get palette paper at most craft stores. If you cannot find palette paper, you can use freezer paper, but the palette paper is much handier and easier to use. A couple of the projects we are doing today require some blending of the paints, and I'm going to give you a brief look at how that's done. You will dampen your brush and then go into your water. Take off the excess water. Now for the sky, we use a combination of cerulean blue and white. I put them side by side and pull them downward. That way you can blend it on your palette and achieve the correct colors. So, and the same thing when you go to different colors, you'll do the same thing. You'll blend it on your palette and then apply it to your canvas in nice even strokes. Okay? Then we'll also do the same thing. If you'll notice my palette of paint, I do line them up in the order that you're going to be needing them. So down in this sky area, we also will blend some cerulean red and yellow light. And see how if you put them next to each other and pull them downward, you can blend that paint and you have it on your edge of your brush. Your brush has plenty of paint on there and you've blended your paint, and you can actually try it on your palette paper to see if you have what you need to achieve your coloring. And again, you're just going to use nice light strokes from the edge inward. And you're going to use water as your blending tool. All right. Another thing that I want to demonstrate to you is this tree. The tree is done with raw umber, which is a dark brown, and we used a little tiny bit of black when we turned around and we mix our paint for that tree. Now I've showed you before, but this time I'm going to hold this up and show you at a better angle. When you do your tree, you're going to pull it up and then you're going to turn your brush as you go up to narrow that tree. Then you're going to come off from any one of those sides and make those branches come off at different places. But trees are lots of fun. And you've got to make sure they're large enough where they come off from the tree to support the weight of the branch. So it's going to get a little thicker there, and then it'll pull out. And all your trees are reaching for the light. So as you pull those branches upward, you're going to reach and reach. Make sure there's support. And reach for the light. And you're going to release pressure with every time you go up. Your line will get thinner because you're releasing the pressure. And I'm just giving you some basic ideas. We're not got a lot of room on this paper. And then to highlight that, I pick up a little bit of paint, and it's called corner loading your brush. When you just want to use the corner of your brush to bring in a little bit of a different color. And I used a little of the burnt sienna, which is a reddish brown. And again, we'll put some more branches off. And don't be afraid to put one on top of each other, because branches will go off one on top of each other. This tree is the focal point in our picture, so we want to make sure that we keep that tree the focal interest in our project. All right, hopefully that will help you a little bit as we go today. Always rinse your brush in cold water in your water tub. Always clean it on a paper towel, blot it dry, and that helps keep and protect your brush.